The gigantic government sucks. Pursuit of happiness radio is deluxe. Liberty and freedom will make you smile. The pursuit of happiness on your radio dial. Just as cheeseburgers and liberty fries, it's pursuit of happiness time.
All right, so apparently Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, you've heard of him. Jeff Bezos has a new $80 million airplane, perfect for flying to climate change summits. They just spotted this thing at the airport in Los Angeles. It stands apart on the tarmac because it's the only plane covered in bubble wrap, so that's cool. Hi, Kenny Webster here. Thanks for joining us. This afternoon on the show, comedian Tim Mathis is stopping by, and Brandon Darby's going to be here. He's one of the editors of Breitbart.com. My buddy Michael Quinn Sullivan will be here this afternoon from TexasScorecard.com. So a delightful array of conservatives with a vast amount of sarcasm, I would imagine. I want to start today's show with this. There's a few lies about immigration you've been hearing a lot lately. And these are summed up quite well today in a story I just read at townhall.com. I thought they put it quite nicely. They wrap up all the lies into a little box for you, and you can unwrap it, and then inside there's a greeting card. It's probably written in Spanish. I don't know. It basically all boils down to this. Liberals are now telling you that Kamala has always supported the wall. It's a lie. They're telling you that Democrats have already secured the border, but don't worry, because if you re-elect Kamala Harris, they're going to make the border the securest it's ever been. And, oh, by the way, even though she's the incumbent, they're still trying to pretend like she is the underdog, like she's not currently in power. So all that being said, the media is always engaged in mass lying. It's what they do. They love to tell lies. Telling the truth is not really part of what their whole modus operandi is when it comes to reporting things to you. It's more about propaganda. It's always been about the narrative. And the lie number one lately is the toughness of this bipartisan bill. For 3.5 years, they did nothing about immigration, nothing about the border. Our border was just a freeway for human trafficking, drug smuggling, child sex slaves, anything you wanted to do, Muslim prayer rugs lining up along the McAllen border all over left and right. And then suddenly they came along and they said, Republicans wouldn't pass this bipartisan border bill. It's really their fault there's an immigration crisis. I'm sorry, bipartisan border bill? In order for it to be bipartisan, at least one Republican would have had to support it. Who is that Republican? Does anybody know his name? Could you write it down on a card and pass it to me? No, there's not a single Republican that supported the bipartisan border bill. The bipartisan border bill, as they put it, wasn't supported by Republicans, so it's not bipartisan. And it certainly didn't do anything to secure the border, because the way that they wrote the bill, it still allowed for thousands of illegal immigrants to cross over the border every day, but they would put a cap on it. All right, only 4 or 5 or 1,000 or million or a few dozen here and there will be allowed in. And then we'll tell them, stop, come back tomorrow. We're all out of room for illegals today. And of course, it didn't involve any actual infrastructure. It really just involved more funding for the government. Funding to do what? Nothing, probably. Secure the border of Ukraine, I assume, but not actually secure our border. Certainly not build a wall, and definitely not mass deportation. Okay, so that's the first big lie. What's the next big lie? The next big lie is even funnier. It's the lie that they claim the Biden-Harris administration, or should we call it the Harris-Biden administration, is deporting more illegal immigrants than Trump. Ha! 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 Oh, excuse me. Woo! Oh, that is hilarious. No, but for the record, a lot of people are reporting this lie. Here, let's walk through, if we will, the places where they're telling this lie. Reuters, Ben Kellerman reports Biden is now deporting more people than Trump. Okay, that's an actual headline. Reuters, that's weird. I thought they were just the facts. No, they'll lie to you. Not to be outdone, here comes Politico's Jack Herrera, says, quote, even as Trump slams the president for open borders, the Harris-Biden administration, I fixed it for him, the Harris-Biden administration has kicked out far more immigrants than Trump ever managed to. Wow. Believe it or not, there's more. Here's Nick Muirhoff at the Washington Post. Quote, Biden officials deported or returned roughly 740,000 people, exceeding Trump's totals, which averaged roughly 500,000 annually. No, I don't think so. CBS Austin, here's Andrew Freeman. This is a news outlet in Texas. Surely they got this right. Sure, don't call me Shirley, and no, they didn't. Biden on track to exceed Trump, Obama in deportations in first term, data shows. Remember The Hill? Who could forget The Hill? The Hill reports, this is Maria Cardona at The Hill, quote, DHS under Biden is deporting 3.5 times as many people per month as DHS under Trump. And then the Cato Institute, if that's even a news outlet, which I don't think it is, but just a little icing on the cake here. David Bier says, in absolute terms, the Biden DHS is removing 3 times as many people per month as Trump. Guys, this is absurd. It's ridiculous. How did they get this information? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it turns out they got it from the White House themselves. Well, they're marching orders. Yeah. The White House proclamation said, quote, total removals and returns in the 12 months following May 12th, 2023 exceed removals and returns in every fiscal year since 2010. Oh, well, then it must be true. Because why would the Harris Biden administration lie to us? Guys, this is meaningless formation. It means nothing. Removals and returns, those are actually two different things. Did you know that? Removals means deportations, generally a years-long process involving the capture and the arrest. You go to immigration court. There are hearings. There are lawyers involved. Flights back to their home country. Punishment for the deportee. Ever caught trying to enter again, we will shake our finger at you. Ought not. That's not what this is. Return simply means turned away at the border. That's all it really means. They're not letting someone in. That's not deportation. Now, combined returns and removals is like saying a judge issued 100 capital and no jail offenses or no jail sentences. 100 capital and no jail sentences. It means nothing. It's a lie. The same illegal alien can be returned 20 times in a day. Means nothing. It's great. So again, I quote this all the time. There's this great book you can read about this called How to Lie with Statistics. This used to be required reading for most economic courses, high school or college level. Nowadays, I assume they probably don't show it to you that much. But okay, deportations under Trump. Let's look at some of the numbers here, shall we? Deportations under Trump. 2007, he deported 226,119 illegals were deported. Fast forward 4 years. Here's the first year of Biden. 59,000 illegals. I'm not a mathematician. I'm sure we all agree math is racist, but I'm pretty sure 226,000 is a bigger number than 59,000. Frankly, I'm impressed Biden even did 59,000. All right, fast forward a year. It's 2018. Trump's starting to up these numbers quite a bit. 256,085 illegals deported in 2018. What did Biden have in his second year? 72,000. Again, not a mathematician, math very racist. 72,000, certainly less than 256,000. We move on. Year 3 of Trump would have been 2019. 267,000 and some odd illegals were deported. Third year of Biden over there would be 142,000 illegals deported. Now, we don't have this year yet because it's not over. It's still this year. But in 2020, Trump's numbers went down. And the reason they went down, I don't know if you've heard about. Does anybody remember what happened in 2020? I know we have a short 15-minute attention span. There was this little thing called the pandemic. It was pretty bad. And as it turns out, more illegals just didn't really cross over that year. It was a relatively lower number. But the main takeaway is that people who write about immigration for a living, whether you're talking about Reuters or Politico or the Washington Post or CBS or The Hill, they don't know what they're talking about. Or they do know what they're talking about, but they just assume you don't know. And I got to think in at least half of the cases of these journalists, that's probably the case.
Screw you. I'm going to Texas. And thank our lucky stars. Sorry, our lucky Lone Star. We did. This is Kenny Webster's Pursuit of Happiness.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you don't mind, please share this video. Tell your buds about it. I have a talk radio show that airs every afternoon at 3 p.m. in Houston, Texas, or every morning on dozens of radio stations pretty much all over the South, but only in the racist part of the country because that's the only place